Hey everybody, it's Shiny here, and today I want to show you a video of a really fun PvP session I had last week on the 104th server on Operation Typhoon. And it's mostly me and one Viper with a really good pilot going at each other again and again. I think we had about 4 rounds with me and that Viper, and it came out with I got him 3 times and he got me twice. One of those was a trade on the same fight. So anyway, I want to look at these. I'll show you these fights. We'll look at the TACVIEW for most of it, and then I'll show you the in-cockpit video for the final fight, and then we'll look at the TACVIEW of the final fight and kind of analyze it. The reason I want to put these videos out is, give examples for people who fly the Tomcat, who want to be better in the Tomcat. How can you be, an effective pilot in the Tomcat in the air-to-air fight in PvP? And it's not different than most other planes in DCS. You just have to know your plane really well. You have to know your systems and your weapons, and you have to be able to control those things quickly with your muscle memory. And one of those controls in the DCS Tomcat, of course, is the gesture menu, which you need to be able to get through quickly. So anyway, let's take a look at our fights, and we'll start with the TACVIEW of the earlier fights before we get into that final fight. Okay, let's go. All right, so let's look at the TACVIEW, and we'll look at the first series of engagements leading up to that final engagement, and on that one we'll look at it more in depth, and we'll look at the in-cockpit video to go with that one. So we're on Operation Typhoon on the 104th server, and I'm taking off of the carrier, off of the Washington out here. Kish is over here, and we'll get started. So the first one, I take off, and as I go in toward the coast, at this time there were 2 reds on. There was an F-16 and an F-15E when I first got on. And the first thing I did, this time I went ahead and went to the tanker, mostly just for tanking practice and to go ahead and top off to get that extra 2,000 to 3,000 pounds before I started the action. So we finished with the tanker, and we turn into our Kish. And we can see right here there is an F-15E that was on. There's also F-16. This guy here in this F-16, he's going to be my main nemesis today. It's actually going to be us that are going to be fighting again and again and again. So I was wrong. Actually, at this time there were 3 reds on because there's 2 Vipers and an F-15E. I'm going to fight with this guy most of the day, but this first exchange of missiles is going to be with this F-15E, and we're going to see it's going to prove inconclusive. So that F-15, he got a missile off even before I got to Kish, but he was pushing in too much toward the blue area, and he got a couple SAMs. He had to depart. His AMRAAM coming in here on me, and we'll see I duck and cover. And I dive away from that. Guys, if you can notice as I'm diving away here, if you notice the chaff pattern. So lately I didn't pay enough attention to this before, but lately I've been when I start out, I'm setting in the countermeasures menu on the gesture menu, I'm setting a chaff pattern. I don't remember which it's number 3 on the list, or number 2 or 3 on the list, I think. A fairly conservative chaff pattern. But anyway, it does get Jester to use chaff better since I'm controlling flares and Jester is doing the chaff. It lets him do it better, I believe. So I suggest setting a specific chaff pattern in the gesture menu. But anyway, that AMRAAM was no real concern. I dive away from that. That F-15 also got an AMRAAM off on a blue Viper that was on and takes him out. So here I'm climbing back up to get a little bit of altitude. I'm at 17,000. I drop my tank and I turn in toward that Viper. Okay, we'll go ahead and get the distance measurement up. So here, this was quite a close in TWS shot at that 30 nautical mile range. It's kind of the in-between zone between a typical long-range shot and that inside 20 miles, more within visual range shot. But yeah, I did take about a 30-mile TWS shot there. And he's also defending SAMs at the same time. He did get a missile off at me as well. That missile's going to be no threat. And he's going to also get away from my Phoenix with no problem. So, like I said, this exchange with this F-15 is going to be really inconclusive. Neither of us are going to score. Closing into within 20. This time, I believe I hard locked him at 20 miles. And I took an STT 20-mile shot. That's my second Phoenix. I'm always carrying, for PvP, I'm always carrying 4 Phoenix and 4 Sidewinders. So that's my second Phoenix is off at him. And again, he's going to get away from that. No sweat. I'm going to get away from that AMRAAM. No sweat. So what we're doing here, and what you'll see in some of the other ones today, is I call this just jousting. You know, it's just we're charging toward each other on our horses, and firing our weapons and turning back around. So we're just jousting, and he gets off another AMRAAM over the hill. I don't take a missile shot at this time, so I've still only fired 2 Phoenix right now. And I will dive away and take that AMRAAM into the hillside. No sweat. So he's on the other side of this ridge, which is what's going to be the problem for this shot. I'm going to press in. This is going to be an ACM cover up. Head on. Wow, 7 miles. And I'm going to get off 2 Phoenixes. So that's a 7-mile ACM cover up shot. It's pretty good, but the problem is that ridge. He's still on the other side of that ridge. Those Phoenixes are going to go into the ground. And, not to mention, I had a fairly close call right here. The first missile looks like it's going to be close, but it's actually the second missile that's going to get very close, like about 250 feet close. That was a close call right there. That missile got really close to me, but we got away from it. And I was down to Sidewinders now because I fired those last 2 Phoenixes. I was looking at him. If he turned back into me, I was going to try to get off, close in and get it off a shot, but he didn't. He also retreated, so I retreated to Kish. All right, so I'm going to climb out of Kish this time, second flight. And there was a blue F-15 at this time, and there's going to be another blue Tomcat on as well, who I was working together with on this flight. And this is Bullseye right here, which I was kind of hanging around at this point. So this guy here, he's going to be like I said, our main nemesis. And what's going to happen, the second engagement, is just going to be a trade between me and him. The second F-14 that I was flying with, he gets off a Phoenix here. So it's also a fairly long shot, because I think his distance will be a little further than mine. He's only at 23,000 feet, and the Bandit is low. So it's not a high PK shot in this case, but the missile is going to get there. and it will force the bandit to react to it because it will go active on him. However, it doesn't hit. I think the bandit drops his. Well, he might be dropping his fuel tank there. I think so, or he might have just been, I think, jettisoning the rest of his bombs when that Phoenix came in, probably. So one thing that missile did do was it got him looking, I think, at the other Tomcat and not at me. And I'm coming downhill on him from 26,000. He's here on the deck. I'm coming downhill at him inside 20 miles, and I fire two Phoenixes. Fire that second one just inside 9 miles. And he fired this AMRAAM at the other Tomcat. Now, if I had immediately, after I fired that second missile, if I had immediately defended, I think I could have came out of this with the kill and alive, but I didn't. I was a little stupid. I kept pressing, and I got off one more missile, and that was, one missile too late. So he got off his missile at me, and I was too close when I started defending. And that AMRAAM is going to pop me right there. However, my second Phoenix, the one I shot at 9 miles, will take him out. So that was a trade. That was also, I think, my fault that I died, definitely. I should have taken that second shot at 9 miles and defended hard. But I kept pressing in several miles closer, gave him plenty of opportunity to get off that AMRAAM at me, and then I just didn't have time to defend. I was still a little too high in the air when that AMRAAM was coming up at me. So, all right, so get into a new plane. And right now, the score is 1-1. Like I said, it's going to be me and this guy all day. So we're at 1-1 right now. And by the way, say again, this other pilot in the F-16, he was really good, and I was having a blast. This is the kind of flying I like. I like to fly against, like 1-on-1 or 2v2 kind of small number situations. And when the other people know what they're doing and it's a real challenge, it gets really exciting. So anyway, our hero rides again, and I don't know what this other F-15 was doing or why he just shot an AMRAAM, but I digress. So this is our guy here. This is the guy we're fighting against right here. And we're at 90 miles. I am at 25,000. Heading up toward 30,000. Okay, and I'm at 31,000. We're at 56 miles. I'm at 0.99 Mach, right under the number. And that's when I'm going to get off a single long shot. But this guy, and this is a TWS shot, right? I'm not hard locking him. This is a person, not AI. But like the AI we sometimes see, like he defends immediately. So actually, this was his pattern. Whenever he was coming in, he was always going into a notch and coming out. So, he was expecting a missile from me. So, like when I say he defended, he didn't hard defend. He just went into the notch, and that's what you should do, right? If you're head to head with a Tomcat at 50, 60 miles, at Tomcats at 30,000 coming head on, yes, he's going to shoot at you. Defend, go into a notch. And that's all we had to do, right? Because that dropped my track, right? When he got into the notch, it dropped the track. Yes, my missile is still going to go active on him. My missile is still going to go active on him when it gets to its bullseye point, but he's not going to be where my missile thinks it is, right? So if you lose the track and the bandit doesn't change course really, you still have a chance to get the kill even if you drop the track, because if the bandit is where the missile thinks he's going to be, it can still pick him up when he goes active, but he's not going to be where that missile thinks he is. So, that missile was trashed right there. He got away from it. That missile was no account. Now we're just going to work in a little closer. Right now, I think I was, going to the side. I had my radar pointed over to the left just to keep a watch on him, wait for him to turn back in. I'm still here at 32,000. Now he's jumping up. Looks like he's going to take his AMRAAM shot pretty soon as he climbs a little bit. Okay. So here we turn in at inside 15, just about at 15 nautical miles. And I'm going to take a shot at him here. I think this was, if I remember, this was probably just an STT shot here inside 20 miles. He actually got off 2 AMRAAMs here. And, I'm going to take a normal split S, dive away, and both of those missiles are going to be no concern. They're both going to go into the ground. My Phoenix was also defeated. We're at 14 miles. So here I am, turn back in, 12 miles now, turn back in. I'm at 3,100 feet, bandits head on the deck at 250 feet, a little lower than me. Inside 7 miles. So again, we're just jousting, right? We're just jousting inside 7 miles. I'm going to take a double shot this time, inside 7 miles. He's going to take a single shot this time. Okay, we're going to get that distance off the screen for right now. So I want to take a double shot. He's going to take a single AMRAAM shot. And he's going to fire 2 AM9X. And his intention was to fire the AM9X at my Phoenix. And actually, he said in the chat that he was firing them at the Phoenix. He was under the impression that he hit one of my Phoenix. But we see in the TACVIEW he doesn't hit either Phoenix. He thought he hit one. He was firing the AM9X at my missiles. The AMRAAM, of course, goes into the ground. I was only at 3,000 feet. I dive lower. It's going to drive that into the ground. So that his missile was defeated pretty quick. Both of his AM9X, which are fired at my missiles, both miss. My missiles are at Mach 1.49, Mach 1.43. He's at Mach 1.1. And yeah, he gets smacked. And that's the first missile that I fired is the one that gets him. But they're both right there. So yeah, if maybe his defensive strategy this time, I think he intended firing the AM9X at my missiles, but they didn't get there. He didn't use a lot of defensive countermeasures. I saw a little bit of chaff and flare come out right there. But in any case, it was just he was very close to the missile, so he didn't have much time to get away. So anyway, his missile was defeated simply by taking it to the ground, which is what I almost always am doing, is if I can, to just take it to the ground. And my missile smacked him. So that was now 2-1. I got him twice and he got me once. I was pretty excited about that. It was a nice kill. So at this point, I'm going to go on back to base, to Kish, for rearm refuel. And up again. And here he is again. So we're going to go at it again. Let's get the distance back up. Okay. So yeah, he's already up by the time that I got back up. It was really quick. He's just kind of hanging out here, I think, waiting on me. Closing here at 25 miles. So I knew he was over there, but he was low, so I had intermittent contact on data link, I think. Probably didn't have any contact on scope. I had intermittent contact on data link. Knew he was over there, though, so I wasn't going to press on because I was tumbleweed. I didn't have a good picture. So I decided to just go out here to the side and wait for him to pop over that ridge. So here we are turning back in at 13, getting level here about 14 nautical miles. And yeah, I'm going to take my shot. I'm going to take, again, a double shot. This was inside 10 miles, so ACM cover up, active off the rail, a sub 10 mile shot. I thought he was far enough away from that ridge that it wouldn't have the risk of getting driven into the ground there. His one missile on me, I'm going to simply just get turned around, run away from that. No big deal. Both of my missiles tracked. But if you see how slow they get right here, he makes a hard turn right here. He makes a hard turn, and my missiles make a hard turn to follow him. And at that low altitude, I mean, that just kills all their energy in that hard turn. So my missiles are close, but no cigar there. And of course, I escape his missile. Now, he's going to get me this time. And he's going to get me because I just lost him. Right? I just lost him. When I defended that missile, I dropped my tank right here. I'm going to start to turn back in. I thought he was over here. Right? I thought he was in this area. And that's where I was looking, over here. I was sure he was here. And I should have known better. So anyway, I actually lost him on data link, I lost him on radar, I lost him visually. So all the three ways I can keep track of him, data link, scope, and visual, I lost him. However, I stupidly, even though I lost him, I continued to press in here, and that was my mistake. Because if I lost him, I should have turned cold, got out of there, got a chance to reset maybe over Kish with some SAM coverage. But I didn't, so it was my mistake. I pressed in, and what he was doing was he was very low, right against the side of this ridge. Very low against the side of this ridge, low and fast. And you can see here in a second, we are very close. It's going to be in about 5 miles. That's when I got a lock from a 16, and it was coming from my side. I was like, what? Where is he? I don't see him. So, yeah, he just caught me by surprise. He caught me really close by surprise. I had lost him, and yeah, I had no chance there. Like, I didn't know where he was. He already had a missile off, and I turned right into the missile. So we're 2-2. It's even. Okay, let's go to the in-cockpit view of this final engagement, and we're going to start by pausing right here to see what our TID picture was as we were flying in and see what we were looking at. All right, now let's zoom up on that TID so we can see what our picture exactly is. Okay, so we can see our bandit there at zone 2. And he's about 100 miles away at this point, as each one of those dashes represents about 20 miles, and also the space in between the dashes. So then behind him, we have the AWACS and tankers from the red side. What is marked as waypoint 1 is Bullseye. Home base is Kish. I entered that myself. there's another waypoint off to the left, which is one of the blue side waypoints that I also added to my navigation so I could see that picture on my TID. Remember, you need to set up your TID, enter important waypoints or just places you want to know where they are so you have good SA, right? That's your SA page, okay? All right, so that initial view on the TID there, we can see that our bandit we saw our bandit. It's just a data link contact right now. We didn't have the radar on him, but we see where he is. He's about 100 miles away.
Nails, 7 o'clock.
So we're just going to keep pressing in here. My radar is in TWS auto. It gets snapped over there now. I'm just waiting on the radar to pick him up.
Roger.
Making sure my radar was in automatic and it hadn't been adjusted up or down. There we go. So now I had Phoenix selected, so he's showing as the #1 Phoenix track right now. And yeah, I'm looking to get a long-range missile off on him. I want to take at least one long-range shot right here.
Bandit 2 ship, bra, 065.
So I do. I take a long-range shot at about 80-ish miles. Maybe just, I think it was a little under 80 miles. So I'm over 30,000, taking that one long-range shot. I'm not going to take more than one long-range shot, certainly, because I only got 4 Phoenixes when I go into a PvP fight. As long as it's with other, Gen 4 Fox 3 aircraft, I'm always going to be carrying 4 Phoenix and 4 Sidewinders. So I got 4 Phoenix. I'm not going to waste any more because I know this guy's good, and he has a high chance of defeating this missile by, notching it and dropping my track. And that's actually exactly what he's going to do here. So that missile's going to keep tracking for right now, but he's going to, right there, he's starting to turn. He's not going to approach me head on the whole time, right? He knows that's not a good idea. So he's going to turn there and get into the notch. He's going to make me drop that track, and that Phoenix is going to be trashed. So that's, now the Phoenix will still go active when it gets to the place where it should go bullseye, but he's not going to be where the missile thinks he is. Right, so it is, for all intents and purposes, it's trashed. So that's good on him because he has sense enough to defend and not fly straight into me, So, good stuff. So he's going to now start turning back into me.
Looks like Nails, 3 o'clock. And Nails, 1 o'clock.
And I'm going to go ahead and come over to the right and swing all the way through the right and put him on my left side.
Washing traffic, Tomcat 1 and 8, 3 mile initial.
Although for the moment I'm keeping him on my right side. So scratch what I just said. And we can see on the TID he's about 40 miles away. Probably just inside 40 at this point. And he has descended. It looks like he's at zone 1 now. Now I'm going to put him over here on the left side. And I lost him completely. I'm going to go ahead and move my radar, shift my radar over to the left, and get it looking down. So I'm using the gesture menu to have my radar looking left and look down at about 30 miles, probably 5,000 feet.
Heads up, I've got
Or
nails,
maybe
11
10,000
o'clock.
feet. And there I pick him up again. So actually I got him on link and
Okay, we're on.
radar about the same time. He popped back up there. So at this point, I'm just gonna wait until I get to 20 miles. He's in that
Roger.
iffy range. I don't want a missile to loft, so I'm just gonna go ahead and wait and take my shot inside 20 miles, so that missile won't loft.
He's locking us 11 o'clock.
Now he's hard locking me at this point. Putting the burner in, get a little speed before I take the shot here. So he just got to 20 miles, and I'm gonna go ahead and take that shot. I took a TWS shot. I didn't switch to SDT. I just took a close-in TWS shot, which is not something I often do at 20 miles to take a TWS shot, but there's no harm in it.
Got it.
That's a TWS shot there is just fine.
Okay, tanks are gone.
So he's pushing in, getting close to 10 miles. My missile's going to go pitbull, but of course he's launched on me. I'm going to defend.
Yep, that's a spike, 7 o'clock.
Okay, so that missile was defeated. I'm going to come back around. Try to find this guy again. I don't know if he stayed hot on me, if he's turned away. But I think he's far enough behind me probably that I have a chance to get around. I don't think he's danger close.
Missile, 12
But
o'clock. Hot.
there was a missile off on me right when I got around before I found him. So that time I didn't get any missile off on him.
1-8,
I had to
clear.
defend right away. So I'm back down, diving for the deck.
And spike, 8 o'clock.
And at this time, I don't know where he is. I mean, I know generally where he is, but I don't know how close he was or if he stayed hot on me. So I'm stuck defensive for the moment, but I'm going to get offensive as soon as I can. So I'm just looking behind me, looking over my shoulder. I'm looking for him, and there I see him.
Roger that. I see him.
I see him. I see a little black speck coming over that ridge back there. That's all I need to know, right? Just use your Mark 1 eyeballs. He's back there. So I want to come around just with ACM mode, because I know where he is. I just got to get him locked up. There he is, just at 10 miles. And I'm trying to see, is he hot or is he cold?
He's cold.
And he's actually cold right then, but he's going to be in the process of turning around.
Is he turning? Nope, he's not turning. He is turning.
Yeah, he is turning. See, that's why we have the TCS. And we can see what the guy is doing. It's a wonderful thing. He's turning. I want to get a missile off here inside 10 miles. I just get a single missile off, and I am defending hard. I'm going to turn and dive, diving for the deck, trying to take that missile to the ground and get low.
He's there, right?
Alright, and then again, I'm looking behind me. I just need to see, where is this guy? Look for that black speck.
Shit, R6.
So I got his radar is on me again, so I reckon his nose is pointed at me.
He's there.
He's back there,
Around this mountain.
waiting for a chance to get around. Keeping cold for a couple extra seconds there. Okay, turning back in. Got one Phoenix left here. One Fox 3, and then I'd have to get switched to Fox 2s. There, I got him. Again, just inside 10 miles. I want to press in as long as I can here and get this as close as I can. I'm watching the camera to see when he fires. Okay, that's when he fired. I saw him fire. I fired. Defending hard. Going for the deck. Switch to sidewinders. Get ready for the next turn-in. That ridge helped me out back there, eating that missile as I came over it. And I'm coming back around, looking.
Oh,
And
nice.
there he is, right over there to my left side. If you can see that smoke trail, my missile got to him.
Where?
And there I see it to the left.
Nice.
Smoke on the deck. Splash.
Nice.
All right, so now we're going to take a look at the final fight. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the final engagement. So we were 2-2. I killed him twice. He killed me twice. And we're going to get up in the air again. You can see we have another Viper over here. I think this Viper was mostly doing some air-to-ground work. But here comes our Nemesis, 100 miles away. I am 32,000 feet, 0.91 Mach now. I'm going to take, again, I believe, one long shot here. Right, there's a one long shot. The long shot was at, it was a long shot. It was 77 miles. But, you know, just like he did before, he's not going to come straight in the whole way, right? Because he's too smart. It's excellent. He's going to turn into the notch. He's going to, you know, I'm going to drop that track. And he's going to work himself in closer there. Zigzagging, going in and out of a notch. And here we are at closing in on 20 miles. So again, this is going to be one more time of jousting. So I think that first shot's going to be at 20 miles. So that would be not an ACM cover up shot, right? ACM cover down, just a 20 mile. But I think actually, if we saw in the in-cockpit video, in this case, I believe I took a TWS 20 mile shot. So I didn't hard lock him. I just took a shot in TWS, but of course, inside 20 miles, my missile's not going to loft, and it's still going to go active very quickly. He gets a missile shot off at me. And we're both going to defend those missiles successfully. My missile's going to go into the hillside there, as is his. So now I'm just coming around to re-engage. He's on the other side of that ridge. Have line of sight there at 13 miles. I'm at 11,000 feet. He's down much more on the deck at 1,800 feet. This time I did not get a missile off. When I pop back up, he is on the other side of that ridge. He gets a missile off at me. So I didn't get a missile off at all this time. I immediately defend, you know, and that missile is going to go into that little hill in between us. Okay, so now our distance is going to stretch out to about 10 miles. He was hot on me, but then he did turn off. So when I started coming back around to re-engage, he turned around. I don't know why he turned right there. instead of staying hot and pressing on me. He might not. He might have lost sight of me over the ridge, possibly. So he was going to reset a little bit. So here we are, still at 10 miles. Now he's turning back in. And he's going to get his missile off here at just over 8 miles. And I get a missile shot off here just under 8 miles. So he got his shot off first. And he's on the other side of that hill over there, though, a little bit, I think. Although my missile looks like it's going to get over the hill. And when it goes active here, it's going to take a hard turn. My missile is going to take a hard turn onto him. But it's going to not have, I think, enough energy. Once it's get around that turn, it just has a little bit more speed than he does, and that's quickly going to exhaust that speed. So, and his missile just went into the ground. And I was, how low was I here? I was at 1,100 feet. I wasn't super low. Okay, so I get about 9 miles. I'm at 3,000. Our boy here is at 1,000. He's at Mach 1. I'm at 0.76. I'm a bit slower coming out of that turn. He had just defended that missile. So now here in this one, he's going to get his missile off there at 6 nautical miles. Me too. I want to get my missile off right there. So now there is a little bit of a ridge right here. He is caught out in the open between these two higher elevation areas, right? So that's a real plus for me. I have the cover of that ridge, which I can drive that missile into just by getting low. It's going to go into the hill. He's caught between the two bits of elevation. So he's out in the open. He's at only 1,000 feet, but with no place to drive the missile into the ground easily. And that missile is going to clip him right there. Boom. So we both got those missiles off at about the same distance, the same time. And at this time, I'm higher than he is at this time. He's only 800 feet. I'm up at 2,500 feet. But I immediately dive and take that missile. His missile goes into the ridge, trying to get down to where it thinks my altitude is heading for. He doesn't dive, actually, right? He stays at about the same altitude. He even climbs a little bit, right? I think I'm looking at just visually here. It looks like he climbs a little bit. But he's caught out in the open, and he doesn't get that missile into the ground. And he doesn't chaff it off either. So it's just a good shot. It's nice. And that was it, man. That was it. That was the final engagement. I had a lot of fun fighting that F-16. And luckily I came out with one more kill, but he got me twice. And that F-15 in the beginning almost got me. That was a very close shave that I got away from there. Okay. Okay, guys. Well, there you have it. I think, that's what PvP and DCS is all about. Really good sessions like that against good other pilots, and just, having a great time. You win some, you lose some. But the key thing you should take away is maybe how to be successful in your Tomcat, if you're wanting to be, a Tomcat guy in DCS or a Tomcat girl, is you really got to know your systems. You got to know how to get through the gesture menu quickly. You got to know how your Phoenixes work. You got to know the best parameters. And I mean, there's no way. I mean, you just got to practice. There's no way. There's no magic bullet. But you know, knowing your situational awareness with the TID, getting in and out of the gesture menu quickly. I think a lot of people coming from Hornets and Vipers don't have good SA in the Tomcat because they just don't know how to have good SA in the Tomcat. But if you know how to set up your navigation, you should have no problem. It shouldn't be any different than Hornets and Vipers, okay? And just know your weapon systems and build the muscle memory to do everything as quickly as you can, just like you would in any other fighter, all right? Anyway, that was a good session. I hope it was a good example for you, and maybe you picked up something that you can use in your fights. So see you on the next one. Get out there and fly your Tomcats. And I'll see you later.